We in this whole war, home.
Oh shit. Big Bud. Big Bud Crawford tipping the scale at an in shape, 186 pounds. That's a damn flex. Okay, and listen, that's something to get excited about, because that's scary. And on top of that, Terrence Bud Crawford, he says this.
Say, Drake, I hear you like I'm young.
No, he said this.
What's up, y'all? I'm looking forward to being undisputed in September. Let's get it. It's work time.
Listen, no. Watching Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, when this man had an entire Super Bowl arena, and I'm assuming an entire country saying this part.
A minor.
That may have been a more dominant beatdown than Terrence Crawford over Errol the Truth Spence. And that's the black George August, a little bit of cream. He even said it wearing a lowercase a, all right, wearing an A minor. That was, and having Serena Williams, we all know that's Drake's ex, from Compton, all right, crip walking. That was incredible. Okay, but back to this. This is humongous for boxing. Okay, I want to let you guys know, inform you guys that I'm going to be splitting this in two parts. All right, for the fanboys. If you're a Canelo fanboy or you're a hater of Terrence Bud Crawford, I'm going to let you know that there's going to be a timestamp of when you can skip this part and go to the second half of the take. All right, if you are a Bud buddy and you're a fanboy, the first part is going to be positive things to say about Bud Crawford and this weight. The second half, I'll be criticizing. So I'll let you know when to turn off, turn me off, okay? So you don't get too moist. All right, that way we can all be happy, okay? Because I give a 360 take. You guys know I give the good and the bad, especially on things like this. This is huge news. So here's the good, okay? For Bud Crawford coming in or tipping the scales at 186 pounds. The good thing is that's exactly what you would need to build hype for this fight. There's a lot of boxing enthusiasts and fans like myself who just think, Terrence Crawford is older. At 38, he'll be 38 by the time he fights Canelo Alvarez, and that he's smaller than Canelo Alvarez. So for him to show 186 and he's sweating like he's working out and he's 186, that's a big deal. All right, that's something to be excited about, because we all know that he has the skill set and the tools to make for a great fight against Canelo Alvarez, or beating if everything else was equal as far as the size and everything. He has the power, the strength, the skills if Canelo Alvarez wasn't such a tank and, a bigger guy who has fought up to 175. So to see this, that's huge. I mean, that's just incredible. And you think, well, on top of his size, be 186, you already know that he is arguably the greatest athlete in boxing right now. This guy can deadlift, I don't know how much they said, 600 pounds. It was something stupid, though. He can deadlift a lot. He has wrestling technique. He was a wrestler. His entire family are like sick athletes and super competitive. So, especially with the wrestling background, if he's under 86 pounds and he's strong, he's already a strong, great athlete with wrestling technique. He could probably do some stuff on the inside. So all of that, coupled with the fact that he's in shape at 186, I mean, you cannot help but to get excited about this fight and get excited about that news. Now, Bud buddies, if you probably can't take the criticism, so it's time to leave. Okay, now, for the Canelo Alvarez fanboys or Bud haters, this is the timestamp, right? This is where you came in and you saw, and you're seeing the criticisms now of his weight. I want to say this, okay? This kind of reminds me of when Roy Jones Jr. was fighting Ruiz, okay, at heavyweight, John Ruiz. And he tipped the scales at 193 pounds. That was like the biggest he can get while staying in shape and being fast and stuff like that. But he's fighting a heavyweight where there's no limit. So you got Ruiz coming in 220 something plus. He was like 230 pounds almost for that fight. So that was like a sick situation. That was crazy. Okay, but it reminds me of that because Roy Jones had to really scientifically bulk up and keep his speed and stuff like that. So Terence Crawford, he's not looking to have a fight or a tune-up fight before Canelo, and it looks like he's focusing on being able to put on the right weight, not just put on weight. And that is very important because I made a breakdown. I have a breakdown of why I think Canelo Alvarez beats Crawford. And one of the things I said was Canelo Alvarez, you know, he may not be, you know, that much of a bigger man than Crawford, but he's a bigger fighter, all right? And, you know, just fighting at 168, becoming undisputed at 168 and fighting as high as 175 and put on a good fight with Bivol. When I rewatched it, I'm like, oh, that was a better fight than I thought it was. Bivol still spanked him. And knocking out Kovalev at 175 and fighting Berlanga coming in at almost 200 pounds, shit like that. Canelo Alvarez is a bigger fighter. An example of that is when you look at Canelo versus Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo, he was actually a bigger man. Like, naturally, a bigger man. Look at his head size, his height, his width, his midsection. Look at him. He's a bigger man than Canelo Alvarez. But he wasn't a bigger fighter. And I'm saying Charlo was a bigger fighter, really, than Crawford. Charlo became undisputed at 154, knocking people out as a big puncher at 154, where Crawford could knock out Madrimov, which stopped his knockout streak, right? So Charlo was a bigger fighter than Crawford and a bigger man than Canelo, but a smaller fighter. But to add to that, if you want to say, okay, Terence Crawford is tall, he may be the same size as Canelo, if not bigger than Canelo naturally, there's some criticisms to that. And I told you guys this before. Check this out. And Crawford is not smaller than Canelo. Let's stop the lie. Let me tell you what that means. Because there's a chance that you're right. There's a chance that Crawford isn't smaller than Canelo. Let me tell you what that means. That Crawford's been weight bullying, and if Canelo beats Crawford, he's just better than him. That's what that means. If they fight and Canelo beats Crawford, he's just better than him. And Crawford was weight bullying big time. That's what that means. That's what that means, bro. You better be careful. You better be careful. Because Canelo went undisputed at 168. I don't know if Crawford can campaign and dominate at 168. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. So if Crawford's actually the same size as Canelo, know what that means. Y'all better start saying Crawford's smaller. Because if Canelo taxed that ass, that means that Canelo's greater than him, bro. Need I say more? If that's the case, then Terence Crawford's been weight bullying, number one. And number two, Canelo Alvarez is arguably a greater fighter than him. Fighting closer at his walk-around weight against bigger guys and dominating. Where Terence Crawford has been fighting down, and he actually the size of Canelo. I mean, if they are the same size man, but Canelo's been fighting, you know, Triple G and fighting at 168, 175. We have to reassess who's actually a greater fighter if they're the same size man. And I want to say this. In that video with Terence Crawford showing, you know, that he's been working out, what does he have on his head? The snack hat. And I told you guys in one of my takes, good. Speaking of which, though, Terence Crawford got to stay on snack. Listen, Crawford, if you're going to beat Canelo, and make Canelo go backwards, Crawford, I want you to take the snack without water, without milk, just powder. Take it raw. Pause. That sound crazy. That sound crazy. But I'm saying, just and go right out there, because you're going to pass the test. All right, just grab it, wash up with it. I don't care. Put it in your hair. Just and go out there and make Canelo go backwards, because you got one chance. You think that's a joke? I'm not playing. Crawford, thank you. Bathe in that snack shit so we can have a good fight. Look, if Terence Crawford coming in, putting on the weight right, and he has the snack science behind him, Hey, listen, the size difference and the strength difference may not be that much different, and you have Terrence Bud Crawford's skill set being there. This may just be one, but I'm still leaning towards Canelo Alvarez. I am. All jokes aside, I was joking. All jokes aside, I am leaning towards Canelo Alvarez still for all the same reasons I did before. Like I said, with Frazier and Bob Foster and stuff like that. So you can be the same size man or even a bigger man, but one guy is just a bigger fighter. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. ShowBizz for adult. It is something to get excited for. And Canelo fighting a William Skull at 168 seems to be kind of quicker a little bit, quick hands and stuff like that. Seems to be a perfect opponent to be a tune-up for the Terrence Bud Crawford. And when you kind of think about Terrence Crawford not trying to campaign at 168, but just trying to strategically fight and take on Canelo Alvarez in one of the most anticipated matchups of 2025, well, maybe in history of boxing, Terrence Bud Crawford focusing on him, dialing in and trying to correctly put on the type of size to where he can have motion, he can move and still not take too much away from his athleticism, his gifts and his skills, but still have the size to be able to withstand some of the punching power from Canelo and can kind of tangle with him on the inside. Pause. I'm starting to lean towards that being appropriate. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. ShowBizz for adult. I'm out.